Hey guys, it's Casey's Politics. So we are now in 2026. This is going to be a really big and important year for politics and for the country. And really, it starts with these Senate elections. There are going to be a number of competitive races in these Senate elections in this year, happening in November. Currently, have the House is pretty close. Democrats are probably expected as of now to recapture the House. You have redistricting battles going on in a number of states. Then you have the Senate. Republicans currently hold the majority in the Senate. They are unlikely to lose their majority after the 2026 Senate elections. But as I said, these elections are very important, and this is a very big year. So without further ado, we're going to get into the Senate prediction. As always, we will start off with the safe Republican states. We have Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. We could probably throw Florida in there with Ashley Moody, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Kansas, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho. And out of the gate, Republicans have those free seats, essentially. So now, safe Democrat states, that is, of course, Oregon, New Mexico, even though it's trending red, Colorado's trending very blue, Illinois, Minnesota is one to watch, but I expect it to be over 10, especially with Republicans potentially running Royce White again, who's a pretty bad candidate. Then you have Delaware, of course. You have New Jersey. Still, it'll be safe. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and those are the Democrats' safe states. We could probably also put Virginia in there. So now we're going to get into the more competitive races. We're going to do likely Republican states, starting off with Texas. It's not really clear who the Republican nominee is going to be. There is John Cornyn, the incumbent senator, facing primary challenges from Attorney General Ken Paxton and Wesley Hunt. Ken Paxton would be a pretty weak candidate. Democrats are running a few other candidates in the primary. There's, of course, Jasmine Crockett, James Tallarico. Colin Allred suspended his bid after Crockett announced her intent to run. I expect Ken Paxton to win, or whoever the Republican nominee is, because at the end of the day, it is Texas. Then we have Nebraska. So Democrats will not run a candidate. They instead of running an independent named Dan Osborne, ran a pretty strong campaign in 2024 against Republican Deb Fischer. He only lost by around 7, even though Trump won the state big. Osborne outperformed a lot of other Democrats, obviously, on the ballot. He's a strong candidate, but he will be facing Pete Ricketts in Nebraska, who is a stronger candidate than Deb Fischer. So I expect Ricketts to win by at least 5. I'd say Ricketts wins by around 9 at the end of the day. And then another state is Iowa. This one could probably be safe, but it is a midterm environment. The party out of power usually does pretty good in Iowa in midterm elections. Democrats don't really have many good recruits for the Senate race in Iowa. Republicans will put up Ashley Hinson, who's a strong candidate. So don't expect any surprises there in Iowa. And Ohio, this one may be down to lean. Sherrod Brown is running again for the Democrats. He lost by around 4 against Bernie Moreno, who was a pretty weak candidate. This time, Brown will be facing John Husted, who has lots more name recognition, and he's a much stronger candidate. Husted has racked up a bunch of union endorsements. Unions that have endorsed Sherrod Brown in the past and even in 2024. So Houston is a strong candidate. Ohio is getting more red. I expect Trump to probably campaign in Ohio, especially to help Vivek and John Husted and other down-ballot Republicans in Ohio. So that will definitely boost the white working class turnout in Ohio, low propensity white working class voters in Ohio. We'll go to the polls more. I think Houston wins by around 3 to 5 in my opinion. Then we also have Alaska. Now, Democrats could run Mary Peltola, who's a strong candidate. She used to be the representative. She kind of won in a little bit of a fluke, but she's still a strong candidate. I'm not sure if she's going to run. If she doesn't run, it automatically goes to safe Republican. Republicans, of course, have incumbent Dan Sullivan. So now we have these competitive races. We have Maine, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Georgia, and Michigan. These are all going to be pretty competitive. What's starting off with the least competitive, that's going to be New Hampshire. This may go down to lean at the end of the day. Republicans are putting up Sununu, who is a very well-known last name in the state of New Hampshire. Chris Sununu was previously the governor, left office early 2025. He's a great candidate. His brother will be running, John Sununu, the former senator. Democrats will put up Chris Pappas, who is a strong candidate. So I expect Democrats to win by around 6 maybe in New Hampshire. And the second state we're going to look at, I think Republicans are going to be able to hold on to Maine. This is going to be extremely close. Democrats will either put up Graham Planter, who has some controversies, or incumbent Democrat Governor Janet Mills. So Graham Planter has seemed to be leading in the Democrat polls, Democrat primary polls. Planter kind of had a little bit of a controversy, had some controversial tattoos and made some controversial posts on social media. So Susan Collins will definitely use that against Graham Planter. Janet Mills, she's probably the Democrats' strongest candidate on paper. She can definitely win. Maine is essentially a toss-up, but Susan Collins is a very strong candidate. Maine is pretty independent-minded. But as of January 2026, I expect Susan Collins to hold on extremely narrowly. This can absolutely change, though, and I expect it to will. I expect it to change coming closer to Election Day later this year. So now there's Michigan, North Carolina, and Georgia. Starting off with Michigan, I think this is essentially a toss-up, but I think as of now, Democrats are going to narrowly pick it off. Republicans are going to be running Mike Rogers again, who may not be the most charismatic candidate to get the white working class, low propensity Republican voters out to the polls. He's not really the guy to get them out to the polls. He's more of a traditional Republican type candidate who is going to do better in the suburbs. He outperformed Trump in a lot of the suburbs and Grand Rapids area. Democrats are either going to run Abdul El-Sayed, who will be a pretty bad candidate, Mallory McMorrow, Haley Stevens. So Democrats really don't have very good recruits there to run for Senate in Michigan. Probably on paper, McMorrow would be the strongest candidate, even though she's not a very strong candidate. Haley Stevens, I think, would anger a lot of the Muslim voters in Dearborn. That would alienate them. But Michigan, it's a midterm environment. There's going to be less low propensity white working class turnout. So I expect Democrats to narrowly pick off Michigan as of now. Last two, we have these two southern swing states of North Carolina and Georgia. So we're going to start off with Georgia. I think Democrats, as of now, narrowly have the advantage. Republicans don't really have that good of candidates. They have Mike Collins and Buddy Carter. Mike Collins got the Trump endorsement. He's probably going to be the Republican nominee. But Ossoff has an absolute boatload of funding even early on. And the Atlanta suburbs have been trending extremely left, as we all know. And there's going to be less rural white turnout in the southern part. No Trump on the ballot, so there's going to be low propensity turnout. So I think Democrats are narrowly going to be able to hold on to Georgia. This can change, though. North Carolina is the final state, so it's going to be former Governor Roy Cooper, who has some baggage to him. He can be criticized about a lot of things in North Carolina. Republicans will be running Michael Wadley, who is the chair of the RNC. Michael Wadley doesn't really have much name recognition in statewide North Carolina. He's kind of just known for being the RNC chairman. I feel like Republicans could have done better with the candidates they chose to run in North Carolina. This is going to be arguably the closest race in 2026. Roy Cooper has a lot of baggage. He can be attacked on a lot of things. Michael Wadley has a lot of fundraising advantages due to his connections with the RNC. So this is really hard. I'm really not even sure I can make a call on this, but as of now, I'll put it as tilt Democrat just because of the national environment and the fact that Democrats are running someone who has lots of statewide name recognition. This is the first 2026 Senate prediction, we are now in January 2026. So thank you guys for watching. I'll try to be more consistent coming up. We are now in 2026. So this is a big year. Like I said, I'll try to be more consistent with the uploads. But thank you guys for watching. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you guys for watching. This is Casey's Politics.